Hi everybody, it's been a long time since I made a real video, so now is the time. Life goes up and down, and I've been a lot of changes in my life for the past 6 months, as I'm sure you have too. And back in October, I lost my job working for a large antivirus company when it was bought out by a large tech company from Singapore. But sometimes setbacks lead to blessings, because almost instantly I found a much better job that paid a lot more and just was a better opportunity all over. So even though my new job is cooler, one drawback is I don't have quite as much time to make videos. But, that just is life. Also, back at the end of December, my wife gave birth to our latest addition. This little guy joined our household. So he's finally sleeping through the night, and I have a little more time now to make videos like this. I'm also working from home now due to the current climate, which means I don't really get any time off because every moment I'm on call. Anyway, I'm sure none of you want to know actually about my personal life that much, but I thought I'd make a quick video answering some questions I received about my newest game, Cavern of the Evil Wizard. I made this game for the Adventure Game Jam 2020 on GameJolt. So you had 2 weeks to make this game, and this is what I came up with. Back in 1988, a movie came out starring Tom Hanks called Big. I'm sure many of you heard of it. In the movie, a young boy plays a computer game called Cavern of the Evil Wizard. And I always wanted to play this game, but I never have been able to find it. The thing is, I don't think this game ever existed. As far as I can tell, the movie studio just made a tiny program with 1 or 2 screens, and they used it as a movie prop. Pretty fun to make, and I learned quite a lot about using sprites, but I made a lot of mistakes. Recently, I discovered how to import whole bitmaps into QBasic, opening a whole new world of graphical options when making games. Mostly tile-based games, but I also learned that you can import a whole screen independently. You can put them together as a sort of adventure game. For this game, I had to first write the story, which consisted of looking at the footage of the game that was available in the movie, then extrapolate from there. I knew you played this guy who's a kind of a pink guy, and he throws a thermal pot at the wizard. There are also ice dwarves, and there's a cavern. It also looks like it's running on a 286 with a 5 1/4 inch drive, so I'd work around this limitation. First thing first, I had to make up a name for the pink guy, so I decided his name was Andy. Now, why Andy? It's kind of a weird name for an adventure character, but I figured that if you named him Andy, then if he died, then you can show this tombstone with this very familiar image.
What do you want on your tombstone?
Pepperoni and cheese.
Then I thought, where would this adventure start? Where do all adventures start? They start in your house. Then you would gather all the materials and items you need to get past all the puzzles and beat the wizard. I had everything mapped out in a Word document. Then I drew all the art in MS Paint. Yes, I know, MS Paint is a terrible art program, blah 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 blah, but I thought it fitting. Plus I could do it on my lunch break. I based the final screen on the Flash game, but that game didn't use CGA colors. It had all sorts of other colors in it. So and it also had a very high resolution. So I had to reduce the resolution to 320 by 200 and then kind of redraw based on what I saw there. And after making the graphics in bitmap format, I used a QB64 program that I wrote to interpret the picture and save it into a format that could be read by QuickBasic in DOS. Then I started programming. This game uses QuickBasic's Screen 1, which is 4-color CGA 320 by 200 graphics. I decided to use the default palette, as that's what appears in the original game, and I would really have liked to make the game switch palettes on and off and when you enter different screens, but I thought it would be neat to do that, but I wanted to stick to the original game concept as much as possible, even though I did deviate quite a bit with the food and other things on the bottom of the screen because I thought that wasn't really relevant to what I was doing. But I wanted to make it as true as possible to the original game. Once you load each image into the game, I need to write my own text parser, because the default parser pauses everything in the background and waits for you to type. Now this just wouldn't work since I was going to be having timed events in the game waiting for you to respond. As this tiger approaches slowly, you have to respond to it, otherwise you die. So kind of test how fast you can type and think on your feet. If you had a text parser where you had a limited time, it would kind of take that element away, which I wanted to have that element of timing based into the game. Once the parser was done, I had to program all the logic so you could walk between screens just by typing north, west, south, east, whatever, or NESW. Pick up objects, look at your inventory, and interact with the environment. Use items, throw items, give items, etc. And from there, it was just testing, fixing errors, and finally completing the game. I know it still has bugs, and I'm looking to fix them all, but I doubt I'll ever be able to fix everything. One thing I thought was pretty clever was I integrated all of the images on the screen so that you could possibly see at one time. For instance, when you meet this dwarf, there's a sword on the ground, and him sleeping by the tree, but he's also standing there. But in the game, that's all covered up with white boxes. So that way I could just use one image instead of two images and save space. Now, I could have had just two images and then you wouldn't see the things loading up, but I thought it was fast enough that it really did make a difference. And I thought this was a clever use of space. There's also a lot of little Easter eggs. If you played other 80s and 90s adventure games, you might see nods to games like Hugo's House of Horrors or King's Quest V. Now, I already made a video about this game, but it was kind of quick and rushed and the audio was terrible, and I really didn't explain the point of the game. But the point of the game is just to defeat the evil wizard and try to make something that throws back to the past. Now, if you want to go back and watch that video and put a like on it, if it reaches 100 likes, I'll make a 16-color EGA version of this game, which would be kind of fun. I'm also already up to 17 likes, which is a lot for one of my videos. If you subscribe and I get 1,000 subscribers, I'll make a 256 color VGA version of the game as well, which would be kind of fun. I've never made a VGA game before because I always was daunted by the task of doing it, but I'll learn how to do it and do it for you guys. Anyway, this was just a bit of fun and hope you enjoyed the game. I plan on making more videos showcasing not just the games I make, but all sorts of other new games for old computers and video games hardware. I've already made a bunch. You can check out my playlist below. I love that people are still making games for these old machines. If you want to play it, you can. Go download it from the link in the description. There's a Windows executable and DOS executables. If you want to run it in Windows, just click on the Windows executable and it runs just fine. If you want to run it in DOS, you can run it in DOSBox, or just delete the Windows executable and copy the rest of the files to a disk and run it on your favorite DOS computer. I know that's what I've done. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Put a like, subscribe, whatever you want to do, comment below, and see you in the next one.